Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to an absolutely glorious afternoon here at Circuit of the Americas as the Pirelli World Challenge prepares to open up the 2016 GT Division season at this great track. It's all part of the Nissan Grand Prix of Texas, presented by VP Racing Fuels. I'm Greg Creamer. Calvin Fish alongside. I want to welcome everybody who's joining us here on our global web feed here at world-challengetv.com. And if you joined us a few times last year, well, here's how it's going to work. You're essentially going to be eavesdropping once we start production of what we were going to be doing and the call that will be used for our TV coverage on CBS Sports Network. So you'll basically be listening in on that. There will be a few times where we might be laying out for a minute or so while we're talking to producers, but we'll get back to you just as fast as we can. And, of course, when we are into the live call for CBS Sports Network, you'll be able to listen in on that as well. So thanks so much. We have a great edition this year. Jeff Lepper will be down in pit lane from the start of the race to the end of the race, not just getting interviews afterwards, but also trying to get us some updates during the course of the race. We've made that addition this year. Pirelli World Challenge continuing to try and develop our video streaming, and we're really happy about that. What I'm happy about is for another year, sitting next to me here in the booth is Calvin Fish. And Cal, boy, I'll tell you, what we are in store for today, and I think season long in this championship, is nothing short of remarkable. People that have been watching and what's unfolded in qualifying at home on the web, we talked about it. The top 20 cars covered by essentially 2 seconds, the top 11 by a second. The split between first and second on the grid, Pat Long, and newbie in GT, Michael Cooper, 2 1/1000ths of a second. And this is the first race.
I know, and you look at the top two rows of the grid, Johnny O'Connell, our four-time champ, sits there in position 3, but the other 3 guys in that top 4 weren't in this GT class last year. Obviously, Pat Long won the championship back in 2011. Great to see him back full-time. Michael Cooper, what a sensational debut for Cadillac Racing, putting the Cadillac ACSV on the front row. And Alvaro Parente, a lot of problems with the number 9 car all weekend long. Finally, the Capex, powered by Flying Lizard team, got the problem solved. Alvaro laid down a fast lap in qualifying. Expect more from him in the race today.
And I think another great story is you look at 8th in the starting lineup is Ryan Eversley and that real-time team and that TLX GT. Huge reconfiguration of the car in the offseason. They've got speed.
They do. They've gone from all-wheel drive to two-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, of course, and that really helps the balance of that race car. They're still learning it. They've done some off-season testing, trying to work the wrinkles out in that new setup. It's going to be sensational this year, and just looking at this field as they stream through that really unique Turn 1 area, which does become our Stop Tech brake zone in the race today. Just a tremendous field. Great to see the Red Dragon there. John Fogarty and the Gainsco group are back in big-time leagues here in the U.S. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah, how special is that? I mean, they've been absent for a while. They were looking at maybe coming into GTS. And what I understand is that the Gainsco folks said, no, we want to go racing. We want to go racing top tier. We think Pirelli World Challenge GT is the spot. And they're here. That's absolutely fantastic. GTA is back for our sportsman drivers. And there's a guy named Martin Fuentes who in practice and qualifying has been unbelievably fast. I don't think he's going to have that A on the end of that for much longer.
Well, the Ferrari goes really well here. We saw that last year with Olivier Beretta getting the overall win in the GT class. So, and he's got a great ace up his sleeve in terms of Alessandro Balzan as his driver coach this weekend for the Scuderia Corsa team.
That's not bad.
So that's not bad. I mean, he works really hard in trying to optimize what his driver gets out of the car. Eric Bachelat is now the team manager over there. It's a great group, and they're looking for great things this year from Martin.
And we do have GT Cup again, which, again, as you look right there, that is Martin Fuentes in that Hublot Ferrari. GT Cup is back, basically following expressly and specifically the Porsche Super Cup rules, and they're back. And obviously with Colin Thompson getting the jump from GT Cup when he won the championship into the McLaren team with K-Pax, people are looking at Alec Udell, who was the only guy, well, one of 2 guys to beat him. He did it 3 times last year. Well, he's going to have this one. Well, he's going to be strong, no question. He's back with GMG. He's back with Neville, his great engineer, yep, with Euro World and Panther Pipeline and AmSource Capital. But Sloan Ury is back with a True Speed car, and he put that thing on pole in that National Security mortgage machine. And I think one of the reasons is that he's being coached, talking about coaches, by a guy named Ryan Dial.
Yeah, well, Ryan has such a great relationship with that True Speed team, and Tyler Tadovic there, who leads a great group, and they're up for the task this year. They want to take it to Alec Udell. And let's not forget our touring car champion from last year, Corey Fergus, has made the move into this class. He didn't have a smooth qualifying run, had a spin, and I think he's taken fresh tires and gone to the back of the grid. So, but he's shown speed this weekend, leading a couple of the practice sessions.
Well, folks, just a little bit of a layout here. When we come back, we will be into our race call for our CBS Sports Network show. Enjoy. We're sure gonna. All right. Lights out in the pace car field starting to form up. Real quick, folks, let's show you our Kia Quad Box, courtesy of Replay XD. Four great onboard looks. We're going to have more than that as well. You're going to really enjoy that, so we're looking forward to that. It is about to get real. Cal, this year you talked about it. We have rolling starts in both of the races here, so the pace car is in. This is it. The season about to get underway for the Pirelli World Challenge GT, GTA, and GT Cup, bringing them to the line. Porsche factory driver Patrick Long in the 31 effort Porsche. Newbie Michael Cooper for Cadillac in the number 8 alongside, and an amazing field behind them, heading toward the VP Racing Fuels acceleration zone. Everybody antsy. It's been a long off season. We are excited about this one. The GT Cup cars will have a little delay behind them. You see the gap, and we're green. Racing commences. The explosion. Cal, this is a wide track. Everybody looking for racing room. O'Connell way to the inside, but Long pretty savvy.
He is. Long takes that inside line, and Johnny O looks to the inside. High cutter, a big move in that red and white Nissan, trying to go the long way around.
And what a start. He's going to the lead. He ramped the outside. Wow, absolutely remarkable move by Brian Heitcarter, the Nissan GT Academy driver. Cooper trying to race Long. Now things settle. Parente into fourth.
Not a good start for Johnny O. He's dropped a couple of positions. Good aggression there by Michael Cooper. Parente slots into the fourth position.
Things starting to settle just a little bit as we go back, but Brian Heitcarter, who near the end of last season got bumped from GTA to GT, showing us very clearly in that Nissan Nismo GT Academy car why.
We have to look at the track limits here. We didn't see the exit of turn 1 to know where the high... Oh, problems for Joe Tassan, the number 90 car.
That's one of our GTA competitors. Looks like damage to that right front corner, Cal, possibly?
Well, I think there must be. You see the big tire mark there as he pulled it to a halt. Coming off of turn 11, Martin Fuentes feeling the heat from behind.
Absolutely. That was the 87, the Bentley from Bentley Team Absolute, the Asian GT winner, a winning team, bringing over 2 cars and bringing him along. Parente now trying to get back around. J.D. Davison, big wiggle from J.D. on the brakes, but he controls it.
Big twitch there by J.D. Davison. He didn't want to give up that slot.
Bodywork flying, Cal.
See a little bit of one of the winglets or something got clipped there in the close action. Parente just feeling out the competition as they are on him.
Yeah, he's got very few laps on this track in this car, but he knows these cars well. Look how close he is, looking for any opportunity.
Well, the McLaren has great downforce, and it really works well through the twisty stuff, but down these long straightaways here at COTA, it will not have the advantage that some of the other cars have. That's just the nature of the beast.
And one of the things they're looking at very closely already is there's been a little change in the rule for how you defend. You are now allowed essentially one move in reaction to a driver trying something. And we've already had a couple of calls. Oh, no, James Safronis and Duncan Endy, problems.
Big damage to the rear wing on the Aston Martin.
Oh, huge damage, yeah.
Looks like he may have run up on the rear fender possibly and got into Duncan's car.
Oh, boy, that two very, very expensive cars, obviously, and that is a brand-new car for James Safronis and Global Motorsports Group. Meanwhile, as Heitcarter now has let things settle at the front and opened up a little margin, let's go back and take a look at the start for the GT Cup category. And there you see Sloan Ury to the inside, Alec Udell in the white machine alongside, and they laid back a good 10-plus seconds is what they were asked to do. I think they did a great job, obviously, and they're heading into that, and we're watching for that flag as well on the replay and see what happened with that start. There is a look at Michael Mills, who has come back to try and retake the GT championship, and he's up into second in GTA. And remember, he was the inaugural year of GTA competition. He won that Sportsman Cup that year, and he wants it back right now. Great to have him back with his own team, Mills Racing.
It is, and running the BMW Z4, he's got a nice bit of support from BMW. It's one of the ex-Turner Motorsport cars that they won the IMSA GTD championship with in 2014, so really good pedigree on that race car. As we see Heitcarter, what a move he made down into turn 1 to take the long way around and grab the lead. Here comes J.D. Davison. He's hard into that ABS as he tries to poach that position away from Michael Cooper.
Boy, did you see how wide, way over the track limit line Alvaro Parenti went, which makes me wonder if that was his winglet that went off and suddenly he's lost downforce a little bit. And we are full course caution. And obviously we've got Toussaint's car sitting out there relatively close to the track edge. And then that incident, there might just be some debris left down on the track from the contact between Sofronis and Duncan Endy. So full course caution here in the early going, Cal. And that brings everybody right back to Heitkotter. Now that is not the newest version of that Nissan. Still clearly a very effective package. And we will be back right after this break while we are under full course yellow here at the Nissan Grand Prix of Texas, presented by VP Racing Fuels. I don't. Yep.
Well, and I think what we could just say is that Brian Till told me essentially now it's not 2 cones, so it's easy to do. There's a cone that begins the VP Racing Fuels acceleration zone. Once you're in that zone, somewhere between there and the flag stand, the green flag will fly. And we just do that.
Who was that third GT Cup car, the white one?
Mike Shine, that's the... Well, folks, obviously we're in a bit of a hold here on our TV production while we continue in this full course caution. And interesting here, Cal, you can see obviously that car relatively close to the edge of the track. I think it was a smart move to get it moved. But I think the other part of it was there was a lot of debris left from that contact on the track. That's dangerous on tires.
Yeah, absolutely. They need to get everything cleaned up, get this car moved out of the way. It's in a relatively safe spot, but anything can happen. You just don't want to leave that sitting there. And I think something must have broken, got tagged maybe up in turn 1 when they came into that first stop tech braking zone. And you can see the black tire mark, and Joe didn't take it any further.
So we're just waiting to receive any kind of word as to when we might officially be going back at this stage. And yeah, there's a broken right front corner on that. And you often would think that was something to do with some sort of contact, obviously. So we continue for another lap here under caution. And give you a quick rundown, folks, just in case you're not watching on scoring or able to. Heitkotter leads over Long, Cooper. Interesting story here. Johnny O'Connell has gone from 3rd back to 6th. So in that shuffle at the start, and that amazing sort of ramp the outside move by Heitkotter really swallowed up O'Connell.
Yeah, I think Johnny was looking to the inside of his teammate Michael Cooper, and I think Johnny must have just got stacked up and couldn't get back on the gas, leaving the corner and lost a couple of spots. But I would love to have seen Heitkotter how much road he had to use to complete that move there.
GTA, it's currently Martin Fuentes, Michael Mills in the number 46. That's a BMW Z4, and you wonder, when you think about a BMW Z4 in GT3 trim, you wonder, was it a Turner car? And actually, it was a third car for Turner. It was sort of their spare that they built up, right?
That's right. Back when Paul Dall'Anna bought those cars, they decided to purchase an extra car. It was actually more efficient in terms of a spares package to do it that way than buying bits and pieces. So it sat there. It hasn't got a lot of mileage on it. It's a great car. It really works very well in full GT3 trim.
And Michael Shine, he's new to the championship this year, running with Wright Motorsports. Michael has done a lot of years with Wright in the Porsche GT Cup Series, but making the move over to a Pirelli World Challenge in the GTA division here for our sportsman drivers. The number 16 Wright Motorsports car sits third right now. Walt Bolin had a great start here in the GTA class. He's up to fourth, and he is the lone brand new Audi, the newest version of that Audi GT3 car here. And when you see them in profile, you can see the difference.
Yeah, I know. The new car's phenomenal. What a track record it's already got, winning major 24-hour races around the world, including, of course, the Daytona 24-hour race this year, just a couple of months ago. So that new Audi is something else. I spoke to Brad Kettler, who's head of Audi Customers Racing here in the U.S. this morning. He's hoping to see a few more of those cars on the grid before the season is over.
And let's take a look real quick for GT Cup. Sloan Uri from the pole leads right now. Obviously, early caution coming out here, but he held on to it in that True Speed number 20 with Security National Mortgage help. Alec Udell sits second for Global Motorsports Group in the Euro World and Panther Pipeline Amsource Capital car. Will Hardiman, local Austin man, who also has done a year and some change in a car racing. I mean, he has not been driving any type of racing car or go-kart, anything, for more than 2 years here, and he's running third right now in his wholesale parts direct entry from locally based More Speed. Alex Welsh and Corey Fergus, the reigning touring car champion, jumping up into GT Cup. So we've got lights out on the pace car. We're anticipating a start. We're going to lay out for just a second. We'll be back to cover it. Lights are out on the pace car. We are ready to go back to racing here at Circuit of the Americas. And this one should be pretty spectacular. Again, that VP Racing Fuels acceleration zone is going to come into play, Cal. They made a little change to it this year.
Yeah, you don't really have to wait for that second cone. You just wait for the first one, and then you're just going to wait for the green flag or the lights to go out. So Heidkott is going to bring him down here slowly. Pat Long's going to try and get a bit of a draft here up the hill into our unique stop-tech brake zone.
And look for that move. Ooh, a couple of cars
Marcelli
moving
way out
early.
of line.
Yeah, that's Kyle Marcelli against
the Bentley does the same thing. Palmer, everyone defending. Johnny O gets a run on Parente.
Oh, it is busy once again, long looking, but Heidkott are able to control him. And here comes J.D. Davison.
Well,
he
saw
liked
what
what his young teammate did when I'm going to try that. Whoa.
Absolutely. He saw him do it and basically cut and paste. Makes a move on the caddy.
Ooh, damage to the back of it. Looks like Eversley. Acura, yeah, that left rear corner's got some stuff hanging off of it, and Cooper, that cost him. He slipped back now into the fourth spot, as it is J.D. Davison right there in that 33 up into third, and Long attacking the 05 of Heidkotter. But for Heidkotter, he's already got an award in his back pocket. He is the Optima Batteries Best Start Award, moving up from that fifth place spot up into the lead. It's the most overall positions advanced on the first lap, and that goes to Brian Heidkotter. So already off to, pardon the pun, a great start here this season. But boy, now look at Michael Lewis has moved up smartly as well and gotten around. That's one of the guys that got in front of Johnny O'Connell. Ooh, and a couple of guys there running way wide. I think we'll give it to Marcelli. Looked like he may have been forced a little wide by that Bentley.
Yeah, and I mean, essentially what the stewards are saying, you must maintain at least two wheels on the racing surface, which is the correct side of that white racing line. Of course, Pat Long looking to the inside into the brake zone. And again, these GT3 cars have full ABS. You can just bury that pedal. Look at this, J.D. Davison. There's nothing like an incentive of seeing one of your teammates up ahead of you. He's looking for more now, sitting in the third spot.
Yeah, JD was absolutely superb at a couple of races last year that he put the wins in here. This is now, you're exiting the stadium section, and here's one of the magical parts of this track, Cal. 16, 17, 18. Talk about burying it, not the brakes, the throttle.
Yeah, absolutely, and downforce really comes into play through here. I love the rhythm of this section coming through here through 18. Quick dab of the brakes, down a gear, and then back on the power. And again, just got to obey those track limits there. It's so much room out there. You want to use it, but you just can't. Otherwise, you're going to grab a penalty.
And Heitkotter comes around to complete another lap here. Again, a 50-minute timed event. We're really early into it. Over 35 minutes yet to go here, even with that caution. In Long, everybody well, in Long, I was just going to say, it looks like he might be settling a little bit, and then he just straight lines to the apex. I think that may have been more to just keep young Brian Heitkotter on his toes here as Heitkotter responds nicely, because Long lost a little bit of momentum with that move on the exit, didn't he?
Well, it's so hard to defend here because into turn 1 and into turn 11 for that matter, you want a nice wide entry point, but it's almost like you're leaving the door open. It's like you're sending the guy behind you a handwritten invite to go down the inside. So that's one of the unique characteristics of this race circuit.
Dropping back to our GT Cup class, Sloan Uri continues to hang on. He also has a Vass's support on the car this year. Then Alec Udell sits there in second. And of course, Alec and his family, they're from Texas, so this is a home race for them. And Alec is right there in the hunt. He's got Will Hardiman continuing to do a great job here. We were talking a little bit about this GT Cup class. Well, Will Hardiman has virtually no time in a race car. He hasn't been driving any kind of competition vehicle for more than, I think, 18 to 19 months. But he got teamed up with more speed and a guy named Price Cobb, another good coach to have and bring you along.
I tell you what, there are some sensational driver coaches in the paddock here this weekend. You talk about Ryan Niel, Jeff Siegel is here this weekend, worked with some guys in the GTS Championship. And when you talk about Price Cobb, a Le Mans winner, multiple race wins in endurance competition around the globe. He is an ace to have up your sleeve in terms of learning the ropes here. And obviously that team, they're literally just down the road, like 5 minutes away.
Oh, very, very close. And, More Speed used to have a big pro operation. Then they stepped away for a while, did a lot of historic racing, and have come back. And Will Hardiman helping to make that possible with that Wholesale Parts Direct program and doing a good job now in his first ever start at Pirelli World Challenge in this very competitive GT Cup, running third. There is a look at Petey Cunningham, 7-time Pirelli World Challenge champion, owns virtually every record in the record books in that Acura TLX GT, and that is our iBox suspension cam. Cal, let's take a look at it, and you can see this track used to be billiard table smooth, not anymore.
It really isn't. I spoke to Johnny O'Connell. He said, I'm really struggling getting our car to work on the bumps around it. I said, really that bad? He said, I don't know what the Formula One guys are going to do when they get here, because it really changed this last year. Phenomenal rains that they've encountered here in Texas over the off-season and late last year. Maybe that's had an effect, but there are some big bumps, particularly down into the brake zone for turn 11, but there's some everywhere around this race circuit, and that's not what the Formula One boys love.
No, nor what they're used to here, that's for sure. As we go back to the front, Heitkotter hanging right in there. You can see the group coming through. There's the 41 of Mike Lewis. There is the number 87 of Andrew Palmer, and that is the Bentley Team Absolute Racing. Again, that team won the Asian GT Championship last year when they decided to come here and run at Pirelli World Challenge. One of the guys they went to was a former winner at the time, the youngest overall winner in the series, Andrew Palmer.
Yeah, I mean, he's a phenomenal talent. He won the North American Endurance Championship last year, and just everything he jumps in, he does a really solid job. Just a young professional guy going places in this sport. The guy ahead of him, Ryan Eversley, had that tremendous win at St. Petersburg last year for the Acura team. He's got a little bit of damage. You can see as he drives away off of turn 11, something's been clipped there on the left rear corner, and the car, either he's working the car hard or the car doesn't have a great balance. I see him slipping and sliding a little bit in the early going here.
Here's a look at the Gainesco Red Dragon back at it we were talking about, but the car right in front of him right there, that black with white stripes Hublot Ferrari with the Mexican flag on the roof, that is Martin Fuentes, and he is your GTA class leader and has been there from pole and has really been the marker since we landed here in Austin, Texas in that class.
Yeah, I mean, he was only a second off for the overall pole position, and this is for a GTA driver. I mean, he's certainly going places. He's got great support from the group and a great driver coach in Alessandro Balzan, who knows the car very, very well. But this car, remember, the Ferrari did so well here last year. Beretta won race 1 in dry conditions, so the Ferrari is well suited to this circuit of the Americas racetrack.
Well, and Martin wheels that Hublot Ferrari beautifully, and he's got great skill set. But I think another part of that might be that's a team, it's a car they ran last year. they've run here. You talked about that team, and now, of course, with Bachelor on board, they've got a great program. The guy who's running second, the guy who's running third, brand new programs with different vehicles that they haven't run. So there's just that comfort level here as O'Connell trying to make things very uncomfortable for Mike Lewis. I think his argument there was, well, I didn't have anywhere else to go. Johnny was inside, but this is a drag race down to the S's, and I think Johnny's going to do it. He does.
Yeah, that's the veteran and one of the young guns in this championship going hard at it. But this is the difficulty for the stewards when you get in these racing scenarios. The guy's going to say, I had to use the extra bit of road to keep it without contact with my competitors. So it's a very difficult decision for all the stewards out there making these calls today.
And I think the one thing that they're going to use, the old common sense thing, is if you do that and it gains you no advantage, in this case he did lose the position, all right, that wasn't a big deal here. And it looks like Alvaro Parente now might be coming alive just a little bit. Boy, you can see that bump, just huge unloading him down into turn number 11.
Well, the problem is if you make the move to the inside, I spoke to Johnny O'Connell and J.D. Davison this morning, and they just said you got to be careful because if you activate that ABS, that's kind of taking control of the car for a moment, and suddenly if someone's turning in front of you, you've got no control of the car. So very, very tricky there in turn 11.
Watching this great battle for fifth overall in GT. Johnny O'Connell, now Johnny Red, as we said, that Velocity Red Cadillac. Behind him, Michael Lewis, the young gun in the Effort Racing Porsche, and the factory McLaren driver Alvaro Parente from Portugal for the Capex team. That's fifth, sixth, and seventh. But Brian Hightower continues to lead over Patrick Long and J.D. Davison. Fuentes in GTA, and Sloan Uri continues to lead in GT Cup. We'll be right back to the Nissan Grand Prix of Texas, presented by VP Racing Fuels. Sports Network, but definitely going to be following things here right now. And Brian Hightower, he was so close, knocking on the door last year so many times with some great runs. But boy, at least at this point now, there's a lot of racing yet to go. I mean, we're not quite even to halfway yet, but he is driving a brilliant race at this point. But you wonder, Pat Long, so much experience. Is he just laying back right now, Cal, conserving these tires? It is a different tire package this year. This is still learning curve for everybody, isn't it?
It really is. It's a new compound. It's the one that they run in the Blancpain series over in Europe, but the endurance race is not the sprint race tire that we had here previously. So everyone's got to learn on this long run here. How will it handle? I spoke to Ian Willis at AIM Autosport, who runs the Nissans this morning, and he just said a little bit concerned about rear tire wear, how it will stack up on the long run. So that is in the back of their driver's mind. Both the guys who sit there in the lead right now, Brian Hightower and J.D. Davison in the third position.
And you press a tire too hard, it doesn't matter how good it is, and these are great tires, you're going to overheat them, they lose a little bit of efficacy. But sometimes when you have that harder compound tire, it tends to slip a little bit more, then you can actually heat the surface and blister the tires up, and then you're just a sitting duck, right? You
are. You just got to respect it, and there's a lot of experience there. Pat Long knows how to win races, knows how to win championships and big-time titles, so he'll be sitting there. He'll be eyeing Brian Hightower, seeing the strengths and weaknesses potentially in that Nissan ahead of him, and he hasn't raced Brian very much, so he's got to learn his driving traits as well.
Yeah, you need to know your competition. And Alec Udell looks like he might just be sussing up here. Sloan Uri, he has closed right back up onto the back of that True Speed Porsche. Udell second, and joining them, look at that. That is Will Hardeman.
Amazing.
Who is right there with these guys and sticking right with them. And the thing that we were talking with Price, I've been calling Will in the Porsche Cup for a few years and the like, and one of the things they said is he's a bit of a sponge, and what he does is when he gets behind somebody who he knows is good, he learns. He'll sit behind him and follow him for a little bit and try and figure things out. Well, he's behind Alec Udell and Sloan Uri, two of the best in these type of cars.
Yeah, I mean, he's learning a lot right now, and he's hanging on their tail, which is probably the biggest surprise of this race so far. I thought Corey Fergus would be able to sky through this field a little bit better, as he'd shown a lot of form here earlier in the weekend. Had his drama in qualifying, had to start at the back of the pack. Don't see him in the picture right now, but there's a long way to go, certainly. But that is a great performance, and Sloan Uri is hanging on. Tyler Tadovic said this is really a showcase for my whole operation. They're really big in club racing, but he said coming here in the Pirelli World Challenge and leading and putting on a great performance is really, really important to him.
Absolutely, and Sloan doing a superb job, no question about it. And Sloan did get second in GT Cup last year behind Colin Thompson. Udell did miss a few races because of some crash damage from that start line crash at St. Pete. Going back now and watching what's unfolding throughout the rest of the pack, there is, again, the 87 of Andrew Palmer in a bit of a scrap right now with Kyle Marcelli, who has taken over that CRP ride.
Yeah, that was a big change. I mean, that was one of the shockers of the offseason. Mike Ski not returning with the number 2 machine, and Kyle Marcelli being drafted in. Nick Schott has a lot of praise for Kyle's abilities. He likes what he brings to the table in terms of the support and everything he tries to do to make the program happen. And here we see Andrew Davis having a strong debut run here in the GT class with Phoenix. And very impressive performance. Here comes Martin Fuentes. That Ferrari, and John Fogarty. There's Austin Cindric, another young man who we haven't spoke much about today, in that bright blue colored, the Troy Lee design Capex McLarens look sensational.
Boy, they sure do. And you're talking about Fuentes, talking about one of the great characters in the paddock. It's just because the man seems to be perpetually happy. That's the only way to put it. He just loves life. And why not? I mean, you're racing a Ferrari in the Pirelli World Challenge in GT, and duking it up with guys like John Fogarty. Life's good.
Yeah, he tends to be on the gas in more ways than one, I think.
Brian Heitkotter continues to lead here. Brian Heitkotter continues to lead here at Circuit of the Americas, but Patrick Long is right there. They've distanced Heitkotter's teammate J.D. Davidson in that Replay XD Nissan just a little bit out of touch, maybe behind them by about 2 seconds, but Long still right there staring at that rear wing of that Nissan. GT Academy Nissan of Heitkotter right now. And of course, Long, the Effort Racing Porsche. In a way, this is a pretty amazing story. We know that Nissan pretty well sorted. It's been so fast last year. That car that Long's driving, I don't think that team's had it for a week.
I know. They got the cars literally a week ago. They came out in the first practice and went 1-2 with Pat Long and Michael Lewis. Really a testimony not only to Porsche, but that whole group in being able to piece those cars together, go out and have the pace immediately. But right now, I think everyone's just settling down. Middle of the race, we're at the halfway point right now, just trying to feel these tires out and see what the competition has. Certainly a concern for the Nissan group this morning. Talking to that team, they say we're a little bit concerned about rear tire wear, but again, is this new Pirelli P0 compound, so they've got to see how it gets affected over this long green flag run we're having.
And this is kind of an interesting study in the different approaches to how you homologate one of these cars. You look at the front of that Nissan, very aggressive dive planes on the front. The front of that Porsche, very clean by comparison.
Yeah, and I think one thing that's really cool this year, they have adopted fully the SRO BOP, a lot of acronyms there, I know, but basically how you control the performance of the cars in relationship to one another. It's really a great template to use, and they use a different template dependent on the track configuration, because you look at the McLaren here today, it's not running at the front. There's long straightaways here. That car has a lot of downforce, which means it's not going to be quick down the straightaways. They try and adjust it to suit the car to the circuits. Every racetrack is a new animal, and it's really a great way to go moving forward, I think.
And here you can see Austin Cindric closing up on the back of Martin Fuentes. And Jeff Fuentes doing an absolutely superb job. And we're going to actually try that again in just a little bit. Meanwhile, Adderley Fong, who you can see driving there, that is that sort of gunmetal, almost gunmetal colored Bentley there. That's the second of the two Bentley Team Absolute machines. He had a big off in the very first testing session, and so this is talk about an upright learning curve for this young man.
Yeah, really nice young man. Spoke to him yesterday. He's 26 years old, had a lot of success. He's actually had some testing time in a Formula One car with the Sauber Group back in 2014 and 15. A lot of success over in Asia. I said, what happened? And he said, I simply got it wrong. Coming into turn 19, that really fast left-hand turn, lost the rear end of the Bentley, crushed it pretty comprehensively. They had to work very late into the night to get the car out there yesterday and this morning, in fact, for qualifying. So he's learning his way around, lost a lot of valuable track time with that incident.
And boy, I tell you, Cal, there is a look at that Red Dragon. How nice is it to have that car back, the Gainsco number 99, and he is in huge battle right now with Andrew Davis. And we really haven't talked a lot about Andrew Davis. This is a brand new program. It's run by Phoenix Performance. It's called Calvert Dynamics Racing. Preston Calvert, basically the guy behind it. The gentleman who went second and third in the GTS championship last year, Andrew Aquilani and Kurt Rezatano, the team manager and crew chief for this, and the driver coach for Preston Calvert is Andrew Davis, former Rolex GT champion, an amazing driver. They just put this program together, and what a race he is having.
He's having a great run, and to qualify that car about a second off the pole sitting time of the Porsche factory driver Pat Long and the Effort Racing Group. They've got a lot more time with this race car. It was a sensational performance. And here you can see Andrew Davis, not only one of the fastest guys, but one of the nicest guys in the paddock. And hats off to Preston Calvert and giving Andrew, who was his driver coach last year and in years previous, the opportunity to compete at the highest level.
Doing a nice job. We go back to what's unfolding in GT Cup, and Alec Udell has gone to the front and taken the lead away. By the way, quick update. We're hearing a report from Race Control that the number 33 at J.D. Davison has been given a warning for track limits. A warning, not a penalty, just a warning. But Alec Udell, boy, he has gone to the front. Hardiman now is shown in scoring on second, and Sloan Uri back to third. So not that there is Hardiman. So
Something's
not exactly
Uri,
sure. Yeah,
so
exactly.
I'm not sure if there was an incident or whatever. Uri is on the missing list right now, and there's certainly a big gap between Udell and Hardiman as well. So there must have been some action at the front of that GT Cup pack.
I wonder, Cal, because they were right up behind these guys. That's Drew Riggets, and he's attacking right now on Walt Boland, who had run way wide coming through turn 18. And I wonder if Sloan, trying to, under pressure from Udell, tried to get through and maybe got caught up somewhere. Pure speculation, but we've seen that happen before when these fast GT Cup drivers catch the back of the GTA field sometimes, and it can get pretty intense. But Alec Udell back in front, and for him doing it at possibly Circuit of the Americas, that's a big story.
It really is, and he's such a nice young man, a real student of the game. Was chatting with Pat Long last night in the paddock. Alec walked up and just asked some advice from Patrick. He's got so much to give, and Patrick was willing to give it to him in terms of this race car, talking about the Porsche in particular, talking about this racetrack, talking about brake bias, all of the real key little things that you can tweak on the race car and try and find a few more tenths. So I love his attitude. He's going places, 3 wins last year, and coming into this year, certainly a favorite for the championship.
He is awfully good. Let's back to the front here real quick. One last thing on Udell. Remember last year here in the second race when it was rainy? Fastest lap in the race after he got punted at the beginning and went to the back of the pack. So interesting moment here. Certainly has some awfully quick driving skills here. So as we watch Heitkotter come onto the front straight, still pressured by Pat Long, let's check in down in the pit lane with Jeff.
Well, here with Tyler Tyer from Two Speed, what happened there to brought back from first to third?
Yeah, you know, the De La Tour car, whereas one of the slower GT3 cars, and we came up on him, he checked up early, and the other guys behind us got around. So, you know, a guy that did a GT3 car shouldn't even be in the same field as a Cup car. So we're struggling a little bit with traffic and got caught out.
There for you guys.
Absolutely tough break for that program, but boy, did Sloan Uri show what he was capable of. Good speed there as well. We'll look forward to a lot from him in this GT Cup season, all part of the GT series here in the Pirelli World Challenge. We're going to step away for a minute, but we still have a good portion of racing, almost 20 minutes to go here at the Nissan GT Grand Prix of Texas, presented by VP Racing Fuels. break on our CBS Sports Network coverage, watching Sloan Uri, and you heard that report from Jeff Lepper down in pit lane and Tyler Tadevik. He's got to be gutted, obviously. You can hear the frustration with the fact that it was something that cost him because of running into some slower GTA traffic. But that's part of the game here, is learning how to read traffic, whether it's a faster class or slower class. That's part of the lesson, isn't it?
Well, you're between a rock and a Hardeman, right?
Yeah, exactly.
There was a big battle there with Alec Udall and Hardeman putting the pressure on, and you come up on the traffic there, even though it's a different class. I understand the frustration from Tyler Tadevik, but that's multi-class racing. You just got to stack everyone up, wait for the right opportunity. It's a chess game at a certain point of the race.
That's it, high-speed chess. I've used that moniker a few times over the course of the seasons here, and that's exactly what it is. And what really makes this different is it's multi-class racing, but in a sprint format. So you can't say, well, I'll catch you back up after a pit stop and in 2 more stints we'll be there. You got to get it done now.
But I think the key is he was leading. You know what I mean? So you've got a little bit more control. If you're going to suddenly lose 3 or 4 seconds,
sure.
Much harder decision. But if you can just try to place your car, make it wide, take the inside line, but he just got caught out, and that's all part of the learning curve.
Having a look here, and we haven't really talked a lot about Colin Thompson, who's been right solidly in the top 10 here after not getting quite the pace he wanted in qualifying. He's been kind of glued to the back of the factory driver, Alvaro Parente, and been able to stay there. Obviously, there's not much, but about 6 seconds and all, but Colin Thompson staying in front of Eversley, Palmer, Marcelli, Fogarty, and Davis, having a good, I think, debut run in these cars. I mean, talk about a steep learning curve.
Yeah, certainly is. But looking at the pace of the race, there's only 3 drivers that have chopped into the 207 brackets. That's our leader, Cota, who has the fastest race lap at a 207.6. Patrick Long, 207.7, and 4-time champ Johnny O'Connell at 207.8. Everyone else running low 8s and above. So those 3 guys certainly have the pace, but long way to go. 15 minutes. This is when, if there is any tire degradation on this longer run, it'll start to come into play, and I think that's what Patrick Long is going to be looking at. He's going to be eyeballing the rear end of that Nissan, seeing if it's starting to wiggle a little bit more.
Absolutely. There is Colin Thompson in that orange hue, number 13. And every one of these McLarens has a great color scheme on it. This one with the orange, Parentes with the classic Capex colors. Certainly Cindrix with the powder blue design, and then the Red Dragon, of course. Each of them very unique in their own right. And this is Parente now starting to mount a bit of an attack on Michael Lewis. This is for 6th.
There you can see it. The Porsche just stretches a little bit down the mid part of the straightaway. It looked like maybe a car length, which is significant when Parente's very much in the draft, where he should be pulling in on him. But again, it's just the downforce levels of these various race cars. There's an ebb and flow. There'll be other racetracks where this McLaren really comes into its own. Remember, last year really didn't show that stoutly in the dry conditions, but boy, when it was wet, what a performance Kevin Estre put on. What a display.
That was the clinic. That was the clinic, no question.
Unbelievable. Pulled about 30 seconds 2 or 3 times during the course of that race.
Boy, and look at this.
Oh, Eversley, big twitch there. That's a big moment when you see it. Oh, he's sideways. He's losing grip. He's lost a bit of downforce with that bodywork that's been tagged. Maybe that's affecting his grip level right now. Palmer goes the long way around. Fogarty wants some of the action too.
Boy, yeah, obviously. And again, that is a GT, the original GT regulation car. A little bit heavier, might be a bit more abusive on those tires. And with that brand new configuration, Cal, obviously, this whole rear drive thing, a little bit different for them, not having those fronts helping them pull it around. So that makes it interesting. But Parente right there in that 7th spot, but Eversley in 9th. Palmer now taking that away as Eversley will slip to 10th, and Fogarty certainly looks like he may have the pace here as we watch Colin Thompson sitting in the 8th spot. And here we go. They're still battling it here, and I mean, Eversley has not given up.
No, he hasn't. Oh, he had to really jump on the binders there, middle of the corner. Apex speed, Marcelli now trying to get alongside Fogarty. Andrew Davis in the mix. Cindric is closing up. This is a big pack of cars right here.
Huge battle. That is 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th. This is the proverbial scrum.
Tough position for Martin Fuentes. He's leading GTA handily, but he's in the middle of this GT battle. How hard do you go racing and risk throwing it away for a class win?
And one of the things, obviously, with the platforms here, these GT3 cars, the idea is that you get fairly similar performance, but they go about it differently. For Andrew Palmer to have started in an Audi, gone and done a Lamborghini Huracan GT3, now in a Bentley. What's the transition like between those different platforms?
Well, it's just a learning curve. You just need seat time. I mean, Andrew will obviously transition and adapt very, very quickly. He's got a lot of talent, but they all react very differently. But it's a new season. It's no different to running the same brand, but suddenly get a new race car. Andrew Davis to the inside. He's going to be using that ABS big time there. Takes it to the apex. Ken Marcelli doing over-under. No, he can't. Great job by Andrew Davis taking that position away. That's for 12.
Andrew Davis showing some racecraft. And one of the things you were talking about, the ABS and how you can just bury the brake pedal right to the apex. Up into turn one, extremely tricky corner, because right as you are about there, it flattens out. And in the past, you better be modulating off of that pedal. You're going to lock up. With the ABS now, I assume you can just keep her pegged and it'll do the job for you.
It will do the job for you, but it's not just going to keep breaking you to the point that you need to keep it on the racetrack. You can still get in there too deep and just use too much road and someone can get the position back. So it's not a safety net totally, do you know what I mean? It's just a driver aid right now.
Which is what it should be. It shouldn't do the driving for you, but nothing wrong with an assist. And right now,
Fogarty really early on the power there. Good launch off of the corner. Let's see how these cars stack up. He tucks back into the draft. Acura's pretty stout down the straightaway, it looks like.
Yeah, I'd say. That's a pretty big greenhouse on that Acura, and it's still drawing away like that. Fogarty would have been saying, boy, it would have been nice to have had that draft. Adderley Fong trying to get around on Austin Cindric in the back, the Bentley on that powder blue McLaren. And that straight line speed keeps Eversley in front of the Red Dragon at this point.
See Cindric very wide there, coming off at turn 12 after the brake zone in that battle with Fong. This is good stuff though. Parente going up against Lewis. This is for the 6th position currently.
All right, we're going to step away just for a sec, folks, and when we come back, we'll be back with our CBS Sports Network call. Patrick Long attacking on Brian Hightower for the lead here at Circuit of the Americas as we are in to our final 10 minutes of this season opening round. Long trying to get around into the S's, trying to get Hightower off his rhythm, and right now Hightower able to stay with it. When you've got one of the best sports car drivers in the world on your 6, the only way you survive this, Cal, is you had better be as cool as the other side of the pillow.
I love that line. Boy, oh boy, it is go time. There's 10 minutes just under on the race clock. Pat Long knows he's got to make it stick. If there's any issue, any incident, he doesn't want to be stuck on a yellow finish to this race. He needs to get that position now.
Boy, and it was interesting what he said after qualifying. He said, I knew after the first lap this was the best car I had had all week, and boy, did he get on the power well there. And he said, but I had a feeling that lap wasn't going to hold. He said, I'm glad I stayed out for 2 more because I needed them. But he said, it's amazing what Porsche delivers as a turnkey car, and then what Stephen Pfeiffer and this team was able to give him in quick order. And Pat looked, and Hightower, that's what he can do. He made that one move, Cowboy. This young man driving absolutely within the track limits and the rules.
He really is. That's what it's all about. Good, hard, clean racing. Pat Long looks to the outside, and look at this. J.D. Davison and these two are mixing it up. Oh, Pat Long dives to the inside. He's cleared him. He has got the lead of this motor race.
He has got the lead, Cal, but I hate to bring this Spectre up here, but he had all 4 wheels inside of that white line. That is a track limit reg. He hasn't done it before. That could simply be a warning, or they might say give the spot back. But let's go back and look at it once again, Cal, from your eye, and see on that pass right here.
Well, here we look at it. He just looks to the inside, and yeah, it was close. I mean, did he keep? I mean, the question is it the white line? I think you're allowed to use all of the curbing there, Greg. I mean, I think it's the solid white line. I think he's going to be okay on that one.
Oh, and Fogarty having a problem. Looks like it may have just been a spin. Let's see if he's able to get going again. Obviously don't know what the other side of the car might look like if there was some sort of contact. And looks okay from there as well. Maybe it just got away from him, Cal.
As we look at the exit of turn 12 here, if we look at the paint and the white line configuration, just trying to use it as an example, is basically the inside white line is the one they're concerned about. So I think Pat Long may have been okay in that move, possibly.
All right. Well, let's certainly hope for his sake that's the case. Fogarty still stationary, and that car doesn't look to be moving at this stage. So let's see if we can find out what may have happened to the Red Dragon. Great to have it back in the hands of John Fogarty.
No fire in the Dragon right now. And here we see Andrew Davis and he getting involved into the brake zone. Damage a little bit to the rear fascia on the Porsche, the number 76 machine, as he drives away.
That was all part of that huge queue that was racing for 9th, 10th, and back that we were talking about. And Fogarty not able to get that car going again. We have 7.5 minutes remaining. Question there, Cal, is do you think that's if they had to, would they leave him there at that track? Not a particularly fast. Or is that the exit of 12?
That's the exit of 12.
Oh, no,
so if
that's
someone
a huge
loses a big time,
zone,
it's a huge target zone. And this is why it was go time for Pat Long.
Yeah.
With 10 minutes to go, you don't want to be sitting there with not enough time to get a cleanup done and get back to green flag racing. He realized that. He would have got the word from Stefan Pfeiffer. And talk about relationships. Stefan Pfeiffer and Pat Long, all of Pat Long's ALMS championships came with Stefan Pfeiffer at the helm when he was with White Lightning and with Flying Lizards over the years. They are very comfortable together. They love the dynamic. They're going to do great things this year.
They did pretty well at Le Mans, too, didn't they?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so.
Pat's won all the big ones.
No question. In GT Cup, by the way, quickly, Alec Udell leads, but Will Hardiman is surviving as Sloan Urie is coming back after him. Corey Fergus, who's been struggling, this is a brand new program for that team, now is on song and up into a fighting fourth. So good news there. But up front, Long now leads over the twin Nissans of Height Cotter and Davison. In GTA, it's Fuentes still leading over Michael Mills and Mike Shine. And we just talked about GT Cup. We're going to step away for just a moment here, but we'll be back with the last few laps of this Nissan Grand Prix of Texas, presented by VP Racing Fuels. This is going to be a very short layout, folks, so we're just going to stay quiet for a minute here on the web. We'll be right back with our CBS Sports Network call. Patrick Long stretching the margin now here at Circuit of the Americas in the opening round of the GT Championships for the Pirelli World Challenge and GT, GTA, and GT Cup. Alec Udell, after that moment when Sloan Urie got caught out by a GTA car, Udell getting around, and he has opened that margin up. A big lead right now in GT Cup for the Texas-based program, at least for Alec and his family. Boy, I'll tell you, the great support, all Texas-based here. Spectacular stuff for Alec.
Yeah, he's just a really nice young man, as we mentioned earlier in the show, and he came into this season, I feel, as the favorite in terms of this GT Cup category, and he's certainly showing great things. Got a great group there with GMG, James Sofronis, the whole group there. Neville Agas, who's his engineer and crew chief, just really a wonderful man and great. He says, Alec really reminds me of Andrew Palmer, who Neville ran back in 2014. Same kind of talent, same kind of abilities.
Yeah, that GMG on the back of that car is basically translated into target for Alec here this year. There is your GTA leader, and again, Martin Fuentes doing an absolutely fabulous job. Top 12 overall in that Hublot Scuderia Corsa Ferrari, and doing an absolutely superb job. He sits 12th overall. Next to GTA is 17th, so he's got a 5-spot margin right now.
And you talk about Scuderia Corsa knowing that car well they know the car very well. They just completed 24 hours of Daytona with that exact race car, so they're very familiar with what it needs.
And Martin has been wheeling one of those all last year in the championship, so in that GTA category, he's one of the more consistent from last year to this year programs, and that's huge when you get to the start of a season.
But he said he got injured last year. He said, I couldn't train. I wasn't as fit as I wanted to be. Right now, I'm on top of my game. He's got a great driver coach, as we said, in Alessandro Balzan. Eric Bachelard has moved over to that team as a team manager. Just a wonderful man and a great experience. Brings a lot to the table. So they're a very strong group, and I think Martin has really ramped up his focus for this year. He's going to do great things in the GTA division.
Oh boy, and we just get word from race control. Andrew Davis, the 76 drive-through for the contact with John Fogarty and the Red Dragon. So that's what the steward's call is. Have not heard anything at this point on anything with Pat Long. So apparently the stewards pretty much saw it the way you did, Cal. And Long able to drive away. He's got that margin over Height Cotter now to 2 seconds. But Davison's hounding his young teammate here at this stage as well, so it's going to be interesting. Well, I guess they're about the same age. Highcutter got into this a little bit later with that Nissan GT Academy deal. There you see it, and Highcutter actually has a lap car, has a little bit of a buffer, but with JD behind the helm, that's not going to last long.
Well, I think one thing is for certain.
Yeah.
Post-race is going to be a difference of opinion on terms of whether the move by Pat Long was legal or not. I'm sure the Nissan team and Brian Highcutter will be saying he shouldn't have been allowed to do that, and Pat will be saying, well, that's where I'm allowed to race. But going to need to get ultimate clarification from the stewards here tonight in terms of which white line they have to have the inside wheels over.
I think I just saw the red dragon. Yeah, there it is. Gainsco's John Fogarty able to get that car at least down into pit lane, so that's the good news. And keep in mind, that whole move sequence started with that little bit of contact with Pat on the outside when they touched a little bit, and that, I think, allowed him to really square up underneath. So just interesting, and I tell you, watching Pat Long race, the guy is strategy-wise is phenomenal.
Well, he just sat there in the middle part of this race, didn't abuse the car or the tires, and he just turned the switch when it was necessary. It was go time, and he made it happen within a lap.
Yeah, I tell you, look at it here. He's turned to 207.720. Highcutter had fast laps so far to 207.6. However, both of those laps coming on the 8th lap. But when you get in a little bit, the tires have been used up a little bit. I think you're right. I mean, I think Patrick just had a little more car left when he got in that last 15 minutes.
I think he just saved it for a little bit of a spurt there and called him off and went for it. And, realized time was ticking down. I don't think the final few positions here, maybe even the final spot on the podium, is settled. Certainly Michael Cooper would love to get his GT debut off with Cadillac with a podium run. Sits there in the 4th spot ahead of his teammate, but very close to JD Davis, and Davis is going to have to defend here in the last couple of minutes of this race.
I think that's a great point for Michael Cooper. I mean, right now he is in potential position to finish in front of the defending 4-time champ, Johnny O'Connell. So Michael Cooper certainly making his presence felt immediately here. Looking at that 31 of Patrick Long from Effort Racing, that new 7th generation Porsche 911 GT3R, and Mr. Long is expected to get the white flag when he comes by start finish this time. And he's continuing to stretch. There is Highcutter. And actually, Cooper now, you're right. As Davison looks like he's just fainted a little bit. That's not the word I was looking for. Falling back a little bit. Faded was what I was looking at. And not fainted. That's not good. And Cooper is right there. There's the white flag. Last lap of the opening round of the 2016 season for North America's premier GT Sprint Racing Series. Pirelli World Challenge. Boy, what a show they put on.
And this was very close to the 50-minute mark there in terms of the race distance, so it was going to be conjecture there whether they saw the checkered or did in fact get the white. It's hard to make that call a lap early, but see Martin Fuentes there. He's certainly using up that Ferrari and some more Adley Fong. This is a nice run for him. Petey Cunningham sits behind him.
Yeah, considering how little track time Adderley had here, I mean, I think he is really doing a nice job here. And there are some speculation that car really isn't quite right yet. The damage was done, they fixed it, but they said there might be more that needs to be done.
Yeah, they may in fact even bring in another car from Asia for next week's round at St. Petersburg. So the championship just started, but it heats up in a hurry. 2 races within 7 days of one another.
Yeah, I mean, that's 4 rounds within a week, essentially. Yep. And the key here is not to leave here with a car that's wadded up, because that's going to really hurt you. And you get into a wall at St. Pete, it's going to be doubly bad. There is Parente, still sitting in that 6th spot, leading Michael Lewis at this point. There is Alec Udell. In the margin he's built right now, 7.5 seconds he has, but Sloan Urie has gone back around Will Hardeman. He's been able to fight back and get back into that position. But here is Pat Long, and again, things can happen, but if he hangs on here, what a return for the last guy to win a championship prior to Johnny O'Connell's 4 wins, as we talked about, and what a return to World Challenge and for this factory Porsche driver.
Yeah, that's exactly the statement he wanted to make, and this group did a tremendous job getting those cars late, turning them around, bringing them to the racetrack immediately on the pace. Oh, he's got to be careful. He's got a nice buffer back to the 2nd position right now. No need to take any risk.
Well, he was flashing those lights, and I think when he got up alongside, Walt Bolin looked over and saw that it was the 31 effort car and went, oh yeah, and just opened that wheel up, let him through. But here we go, Cal. Last turn, Patrick Long onto the front straight, over to the pit wall to salute Stephen Pfeiffer and that Effort Racing crew. Patrick, on a number of different levels, has truly come home to a family he knows well in terms of Stephen Pfeiffer and that crew, and to the Pirelli World Challenge. What a great story indeed here.
Cooper got around Davison, and looking at timing and scoring, Michael Cooper may have grabbed a podium on his GT debut for Cadillac.
He did. It shows on scoring that he did exactly that. There is Martin Fuentes on his way to a GTA win. He's just got to get through one more corner, and he's got Adderley Fong hounding him mercilessly. A big group in front battling fiercely, but he's going to do it. Fuentes brings it home for Hublot and the Scuderia Corsa Ferrari team, getting his season off to a great start. Boy, more bodywork flying around on the cars here after the checkered flag. And once again in GT Cup, we're just watching and waiting for Alec Udell. Boy, what a special one here. He had a good run in the first race here last year in his debut in the GT Cup category. Then was thinking, well, we're going to have something here in that wet race, because he knows this track well. He got punted, spun around, went to the back of the field, and ended up with a podium. Didn't win it, but fastest race lap. And I think he's been waiting for a year to get back on this track in this car and show what he can do, and boy has he.
His crew chief told me, he said he's very frustrated after qualifying, got booked on his fast lap, and he said just calm down, it's all about the race today. And that's exactly what he did. Bided his time, took advantage of Yuri's problem in traffic, and a great first win of this championship season.
Absolutely. You see that Euro World on the side of the car. They stepped up big to make sure that program could continue into 2016. They joined late in this, midway through the year last year with a lot of help. And then his longtime supporters, Panther Pipeline and M-Source Capital and GMG team.
Of course, we're giving it to him early. He's got a couple of corners.
Well, I was going to say, we're always, I don't want to pull that move. That's happened before. But here he comes, and Alec Udell at his home race, the Texan at Circuit of the Americas, gets a win in the opening round of the championship. Wow, what an absolutely fantastic story there. But, you got to go back here as we watch Alec, and he certainly has deserved it. But, again, a clinic in terms of racecraft put on by Pat Long. And I think the magical thing in this whole equation is, again, they had the car a week, and he had that kind of a weapon.
He did, and it's certainly an advantage for that group to have Pat Long on board. But from Porsche's perspective, they love having one of their factory pilots on board their latest iteration of the GT3 machinery, and give them great feedback globally to relate to the rest of their teams that are campaigning this machine.
Yeah, just an absolutely great run here, and boy, a portent of what's going to happen here. And he had the pole, obviously, that great move around the outside by Heckhotter at the start, which not only gave him the best start award, but we're thinking
maybe that's the rebuttal. Maybe
Yes.
that's the rebuttal. He said, well, you did it in turn one. You used a bit more of the road than was allowed, so I did it a little bit later in the race.
Maybe that's exactly right. Maybe that was it here. Boy, there are some very special congratulations as Rafael Navarro from Pirelli. So we're going to step away for a minute. We will be back. We have lots of celebrating to catch up on when we come back to the Nissan Grand Prix of Texas, presented by VP Racing Fuels. Okay, on the web. All right, folks. Thanks for staying with us here on the web. Obviously, you were hearing a little offline traffic, but we're going to get down to Jeff Lepper right now with our winter class interviews. Jeff?
Well, Patrick Long, got to tell you, not bad for a week-old car, huh?
Yeah, there's something about the emotion of a sprint race. This Pirelli World Challenge is always an awesome show. We got this car late last week, and the Effort Racing boys put in some all-nighters. They wrapped this thing 2 days before we went on track here at COTA, so an unbelievable job by them. GT3R is one hot GT3 car, and I just had to wear Brian out. He had the legs on me over a lap, and for sure on the straightaways, but I could see his hand out the window go down the straights. It's a hot day here, so I just tried to keep the pressure on, and once we started crossing over and under, I knew I had a chance, and I had to take it. I didn't know if I was going to get another one.
Well, folks, thanks for joining with us here at world-challengetv.com, to our global web audience, and, of course, to everybody here at the track at Circuit of the Americas that's been listening in, as we've been feeding the house here, as they say, as well. And thanks to all of you for coming out here to the track and supporting this championship. We're going to wrap things up here, but remember, we've got more coming. It is a big race that is yet to unfold here. It is the opening round of the GTS Championship that will be unfolding here. That is scheduled to start again, that is scheduled to start about 4:15. So in about 45 minutes, we will be ready to go with that. We'll have it right here at world-challengetv.com, as well as our call at the track. Again, big win for Patrick Long. Heitkotter second, Michael Cooper third in the overall run, and that's the podium. GTA, Martin Fuentes in the Ferrari. Michael Mills doing a nice job with his new team, Mills Racing, and his BMW Z4. And Michael Shine, talk about a great program with Wright Motorsports coming in and getting a podium right off the go for Mike Shine. And in GT Cup, Texas's own Alec Udell getting the win over Sloan Urie. What a comeback, though, by Sloan. And Austin's own Will Hardiman. It was a great program there. Cal, any quick last thoughts here? And again, the good news is we get to do this again tomorrow.
I know. That's the awesome thing about this championship, the doubleheader weekends, and seeing it all happen again. Everyone will have a chance to digest what they saw here today. There'll obviously be a bit of discussion about the track limits. We certainly saw Brian Heitkotter go the long way around in turn one to grab the lead. We saw the move by Patrick, which was maybe abusing those limits a little bit. So I think what the drivers want is consistency. They want clarification, and we move forward for tomorrow's race. But looking forward to GTS a little bit later.
Oh, that's going to be a fun one, too, with all those new GT4 cars going up against the proven iron, the pony cars. That's going to be great as well. That happens at 4:15. So make sure you're back with us then here at world-challenge.com for our global webcast.